Yes, my people, hello and welcome back to another YouTube video where we are here in the Strawberry Arena, in the Swedish capital of Stockholm, and there are no words left to be spoken. It's time to race, time to do the business. That's all that's left. You coming with me? Let's go do it. See you on the other side in a bit.
I look so underwhelmed. Oh, I didn't think it was going to be that texture. I thought it was going to be sports style. Yeah, like a sports style. Oh, sick.
Imagine they spell your name wrong.
Up the girl in.
Congratulations to our new World Champions, Colin Blair and new Afterlife.
Hey, more! Nearly there! Come on, Sam! Four more! Come on, Sam! Go on! One more time, boys! Go on!
Oh, here we go then. 3 weeks post the HYROX World Championships in Stockholm, and I've had plenty of time to first and foremost edit this YouTube video, but secondly reflect and think about A, my performance, but B, the overall experience that we had out in the Swedish capital. And so today I thought to round out this video I'd reflect on the race, the experience. answer a few questions that people have asked me and a few questions that I think might prove useful. A, for you to hear yourselves, but B, for me to reflect on further down the line. So I've got my phone here and I've got those questions written out. I've also got a nice cup of coffee to enjoy here in the beautiful British sunshine. We're having a hell of a summer here. So without any further ado, I'd like to get stuck straight into this. Starting with question number 1, which I was relatively vocal about, but didn't disclose too much before the race. And it's what my goal was heading into HYROX Worlds. And ultimately, how did the goal compare to the reality of the race? And now, I think I may have mentioned in previous videos in this series that the goal was ultimately to PB, to go out there and give it everything that we'd, got and trained hard for. And I'm pleased to say that we did both of those things. Obviously, it would have been nice to get closer to the 53-minute mark. That is a number that we had pigeonholed for ourselves, a 52 or a 53. But given the circumstances, the conditions, the environment on the day, we were happy with the race result we got. And ultimately, it placed us 28th for our age group in the world and 134th overall out of the 704 teams that were there. So I have taken some time to reflect, and as you cross the finish line and find out the result, 28th doesn't sound too glamorous, but when you think that you're top 30 in the world for your age, that's something to be proud of. And top, 140, 135 in the world overall, again, something to be pretty happy with, chuffed with and proud of. So yes, we had some goals, a couple of them we achieved. We did get a PB, albeit just 7 seconds. And we did go out there and give it our all and empty the tank. And I could honestly reflect on it now and say that I couldn't have done any more, given the way I thought about HYROX and building into an A race like this. I never trained so hard. I'd never prepared so well. I didn't drink for, the best part of 3 months. And, I'm partial to a little beer or two and a little party. So I gave it absolutely everything, and I'm proud of that, and I'm proud of the result in the end. So that sums up effectively our expectations before and the reality of the race afterwards. The next question is about how I felt during the race. Was there a station or a moment out on the course that pushed me close to my limit? And how did I talk myself through it? Now, to be honest, there was many a moment and many a station where I was pushed to my limit. And I don't know if any of you have been there and can relate to this and resonate with this, but there are just some days where you wake up or you get stuck into a warm-up. And bear in mind, we was competing very early. I think our wave was 7:50, so we was up at the crack of dawn. We'd flown in the day before, so those might be contributing factors. But in the warm-up, I just didn't feel the pop. Sometimes you can feel loose and light and raring and ready to go. I just didn't have that. It was a mental battle to get myself to that place, to feel truly prepared at the start line. And when I got in the tunnel, you just, tell yourself that this is it, go and, do the business. And once the race started, I quickly found out that it wasn't going to be smooth sailing, and I was going to have to fight for the result that we wanted. Got through the ski erg, absolutely fine. Got through the sled push, fine. Actually felt pretty comfortable coming off the sled pull as well. Jack is naturally a faster runner than me, so he took the lead on the ski. He took the lead on the sled push, and I took the lead from the sled pull. And it wasn't until after the sled pull that things really started to get tough. Made it to the burpees, got through the burpees, and then it just, all went pretty dark thereafter. You'd have seen from the video and some of the highlights from the race, the times that we got. And previously, the back end of the race has really been a strength of mine. But because I entered the pits so early, just after or just towards the end of the burpees, that back end become a real struggle for me. And as I've said, I was really relying on grit, fight, determination, just going dark and going to a horrible place. I made reels and I've made content in the past about smiling your way through these scenarios and enjoying it as much as you possibly can. But that day on the 20th of June was not a day for enjoying it, and I quickly learned that, I was smiling my way through the first 3 stations trying to enjoy it, and I remember going past Abby and Hannah and Jack's mum and dad and brother, and you know, just trying to smile at them for the first 3 stations, but then after that I couldn't see anything, and it was just, yeah, as I say, about gritting the teeth and almost getting angry with myself to pull myself through. So to answer the question, I had to get to a dark place to pull myself through and get the result I wanted, which is, you know, a little bit of a shame considering the work that I put in, but also a testament to the work that I put in on the mental side of things, because I didn't have that pop, I didn't have that sharpness that I would have liked, but I managed to get through the race in a time that, as I've said, I'm proud of. So looking back at your training block, what's one thing you would change if you were prepping for Worlds again? I kept reminding myself during my training block that this might be the only chance I get to race at Worlds. You know, I was really trying to adopt that mentality and treat it as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Of course, now that we're in pre-season, I'm 3 weeks post-race, I'm looking towards Hong Kong, and I would love to qualify in the pro doubles with Jack again. But if I had to look back on my training block, the one thing I would probably change is increasing the duration of my taper. So I only tapered for around a week, and as I was approaching the race start, I think perhaps I got a little bit nervous and I was throwing in bits and pieces, and I was so conscious to not do this, and I thought I was doing the right thing at the time, but upon reflection, I think for these big A races that I train for a long period of time for, and I build volume and intensity and frequency up over the weeks, and I'm the sharpest I've ever felt, the fittest I've ever felt, I need to give myself more time to absorb that adaptation and the load that I've put in. So for future training blocks, my next big race is going to be Birmingham. There's the announcement, you know, me and Jack are going to be sending it in Birmingham, trying to get that qualification first time round, but it's another opportunity, and it's another race that I'm going to try and peak for early in the season. So just allowing a longer taper is what I change in my next training block. What surprised you most about competing at this level? What surprised me most? I suppose I learned that I belong at that high level. I've struggled in the past with, you know, really believing in myself and backing myself, but there was evidence there. Yes, we finished 28th, but we was within, genuinely, if you look at the race results, 20 seconds of being top 20 and 30 seconds of being top 15. So we was really there and thereabouts, and you know, we was close to top 10 for age. So, you know, I've proven to myself that I can mix it with the best athletes in the sport. So that surprised me a little bit, how competitive we were. You know, Jack's an incredible athlete, but you know, for myself, I can only speak for myself, how competitive I was, and I felt like I belonged there. And I got through the race, and yes, it was a struggle, but I come off it feeling proud, as I've said. So that surprised me. But also another thing that surprised me was the sheer level of professionalism and organisation at the event. It made you feel really special as an athlete competing. And you know, it was Abby's, my girlfriend's, first experience of HYROX. She'd never been to a race before, and I think she was pretty taken aback by the professionalism and the fact that they give you your t-shirt with your name on the back, and you get almost a program, and you're on the same track as the elites, and it does make you feel really special. So I want to capture that feeling, bottle it up, and I want more of it. Effectively, it's made me really hungry. I think that's another thing that's perhaps surprised me whilst we're talking about it is you know, how much more motivated and hungry it's made me feel. So that answers that question. And now I appreciate I'm rambling on here, but I suppose that is the point of a Q&A. We'll go with just one more question. So what's the one takeaway from Stockholm you're carrying into next season and your next race? So I've already spoken about increasing tapers, but for me, I've proven it to myself in the past, but it's always good to have that reminder that you do, or I do, have that ability to fight. I've got that dog in me to pull through. Jack led the race for most of the race. I don't mind conceding to that. I think it was only one run where I found myself in front of Jack, which was on the row, where he took majority, or 550 metres at the station at the front and back end. So I know that in these races I've really got to dig deep, and I've proven to myself that I'm capable of that. So that's one big takeaway. Another big takeaway is less about the race itself and more about the prep. I've proven to myself that I can apply myself over an extended period of time. You know, I was very, I like to think I'm a disciplined person anyway, but I showed a different level of discipline for me. Now, I'm not comparing myself to anyone else. I'm sure there's people that will brag about being more disciplined than me or whatever, and I'm sure they are. But for myself, relative to, you know, myself, comparing myself to myself, I was very disciplined in the preparation, and I know that I can do that again. And you know what? Upon reflection, I did actually really enjoy that period of being disciplined and so locked in for that period of time. It was great. So I know I can take that into next season and apply it to this next race in Birmingham. And the goal ultimately being to just keep getting better, just keep improving. Now, so suppose that was the last question, but just to build on that last point and round things out here, how do I get better? You know, what is next for me? Obviously, the first race of the season is going to be Birmingham, potentially looking at London in December too, and perhaps trying to catch a couple of races in the new year abroad. So we'll see. But in terms of how I get better, I would be lying if I said I haven't struggled for a little bit of rhythm, a little bit of structure in my training. I did take a whole 10 days off, went to my favourite place in the world. I went to Ibiza and I had a little party, but you know, mostly just relaxing, to be honest. And after that little period, I've come back and tried to get back into training. And whilst I feel motivated, Birmingham feels like an awful long way away at the moment. So I'm not feeling rushed, and I don't want to rush to get back into training. And to be fair, this has been the first week. We're 3 days into this week. First week that I've really felt that fire back in the belly. And that's come from doing something completely different. I went for a trail run yesterday. I went for a trail run yesterday, and it sparked a little bit of drive, a little bit of motivation back to get into training again. So I'm going to utilise the trail running, things that I enjoy, lean into some different areas of training. I want to get quicker. I want to focus on improving my 5K time, my 10K time. I know that I can hold fast paces for long periods, half marathons, 30Ks. I've never raced a marathon, but I'm sure I can apply that same strength to the marathon distance. But for me now, I want to get sharper and quicker across the 5K to 10K distances. So really developing that ability to tolerate, you know, the fast build up of lactate, which will translate well to a HYROX race, I believe, at least for me. Identify my strengths and weaknesses. Of course, there's stations that I want to improve on based on what you've seen in this video. I'd like to get better at lunges. I'd like to get better at the farmer's carry. Certainly, I was happy with my sleds on the day, to be honest. But I think that will come with specificity as I approach October or the end of October. You know, I've still got probably a month before I really get into a specific, you know, block and start to build towards Birmingham. But I want to spend the next 4 weeks, 6 weeks building a base. So running volume is going to go up, aerobic zone 2 volume is going to go up. But I'm also going to be doing a lot more running at threshold intensities, a lot more hill running. I've mentioned the trails. I'm going to be running the hills. So that's the way I think that I'll improve and where I can get most leverage in my training. And that's going to be the focus for me over the next 6 weeks. I am going to be documenting, you know, my pre-season, my off-season, and then transitioning into the season and preparing for Birmingham in October. So stay tuned. But I'd like to round this out today by thanking you all very much for watching, not just this episode and not just this Q&A if you've made it this far, but the series. There's plenty more to come. And if there's anything that you'd like to see, as I mentioned throughout this series, any specific insights around nutrition, around the training that you want me to show you, then please do let me know in the comments down below, or drop me a DM over on Instagram. You know where to find me. But yeah, what a blessing, man. I'd like to, you know, round it out by saying how grateful I am to you know, everyone who's watching this video, who's supported, but also to, it sounds very cliche, but also to my family. You know, I was a bit of a miserable bastard. So during the training, very, very focused and not always present. So I thank my family for putting up with me, and of course my wonderful, beautiful girlfriend, Abby, for putting up with me as well. I appreciate you all very, very much. But enough with the sob story. I'm very excited for next season. I'm very excited to get stuck into things now. I found this new lease of motivation. So stay tuned for more videos coming very soon, and stay tuned for a big 26-27 HYROX season. If you'd like to explore my coaching and you'd like to join the team for that 26-27 season, Again, drop me a DM or leave a comment down below. I'll be sure to get back to you. I've got some spaces opening up for that 26-27 season so that you can put yourself in the best possible stead to PB in the new HYROX season. But yeah, that's it for this video. No more rambling, no more listening to me. Hope you all have a wonderful day and a wonderful rest of your week. I'll see you all very soon on the other side in a bit. Oh.